Also, what's going on? Mark Zuckerberg, there he is. So this is the second day of his testimony at Congress, and it began with questioning about, in fact, the first day began about questioning about the broad scope of Facebook's features. Let's listen to sound we've had previously.
Facebook has created its own video series starring Tom Brady that ran for 6 episodes and has over 50 million views. That's twice the number of the viewers that watched the Oscars last month. Also, Facebook's obtained exclusive broadcasting rights for 25 Major League Baseball games this season. Is Facebook a media company?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I consider us to be a technology company because the primary thing that we do is have engineers who write code and build products and services for other people. There are certainly other things that we do too. We do pay to help produce content. We build enterprise software, although I don't consider us an enterprise software company. We build planes to help connect people, and I don't consider ourselves to be an aerospace company. But overall, when people ask us if we're a media company, what I hear is do we have a responsibility for the content that people share on Facebook? And I believe the answer to that question is yes.
All right, let me ask the next one. You can send money to friends on Facebook Messenger using a debit card or a PayPal account to, quote, split meals, pay rent, and more, close quote. People can also send money via Venmo or their bank app. Is Facebook a financial institution?
Mr. Chairman, I do not consider ourselves to be a financial institution, although you're right that we do provide tools for people to send money.
Given the situation, can you manage the issues that are before you, or does Congress need to intercede?
Okay, so that was Zuckerberg's second day at Congress, and it began with questioning, as you can see, about the broad scope of Facebook's features. We'll now speak to Eva Kaili. She's a member of the European Parliament who advocates for a greater regulation on the use of data. She's joining us live from Brussels. Thanks very much for speaking to us on Al Jazeera. So Zuckerberg going through his second day of questioning, but what you heard just 24 hours ago when he was giving testimony then, what do you make of what he had to say? Did you hear everything that you wanted to from him when it comes to data, privacy and data?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Let me say I'm happy because I heard that he mentioned GDPR. This means that Europe is leading in the regulatory framework, which is based on basic principles of transparency and liability, but also a cause for why somebody would keep your data. So we give back control to the citizens of their data. I think it's important that this has been acknowledged. Of course, there were some questions that I do expect to be answered the next few days. If there was a cover-up, if the data were being sold and they knew about it, I think these are questions that need to be answered. But in any case, I do believe that politicians have a responsibility to apply GDPR. We fight it a lot here in the European Parliament to make this legislation go through.
In fact, that is something that you do work on.
A long time ago.
You do work on pushing for tighter regulation when it comes to the European Union. And we know that regulation is going to go into effect in Europe, the GPDR, what's known as the General Data Protection Regulation. That's going to happen on the 25th of May. Just give me your point of view on that regulation. And do you think that it does enough to protect against data breaches?
Well, it's an excellent base to start with. It talks about transparency and liability. This means you have to know who is responsible for your data. You have to know why somebody keeps your data and for what. So this is already a very good start that we all agree on. Secondly, there have to be anonymous data. This means they cannot be sold and make profit without your consent. This is essential, and it's not only for European companies, but anybody that wants to work with European companies. So I think it's really important to know who is the responsible of our data. It's far away from protectionism. We just protect the privacy of citizens, and we want to make data explainable. We want citizens to understand how their data are being used. So we're expecting the next few days. We're going to follow with some guidelines and specific cases of how GDPR can be applied, and I do hope US will follow this lead.
Okay, we thank you very much, Eva Kaili, for speaking to us from Brussels. Well, in this article trending on aljazeera.com, you'll find some of Zuckerberg's quotes during his testimony 24 hours ago, as well as some of his exchanges with the senators if you scroll all the way down.